Hello.
We're going to get this party started.
Hello.
Hey guys, welcome to our team call. This is Fit Union from the top all the way down to me, Lindsay. So we are super excited to have Tulin here. Last week, you guys got to hear from a founding coach. And this week, we are bringing you Tulin, who's been around for a couple years, and her story is incredible. We all got the pleasure of spending a whole weekend with her in September, I believe it was. And she was so kind to come to Florida and spend a whole weekend and take literally one-on-one time with all the coaches that earned that retreat, which is so cool. I was thinking about that today. I was like, something that's so cool about Tulin is like, she is an open book. Anything, any question, any struggle, she is like, here's how you do it. She shows up in that 80-day test group and helps those girls out. I've got challengers that are struggling with those sliders. And I'm like, here, use these videos to modify. And they're like, oh, thank God. So
I have more videos too that I haven't uploaded yet. So.
That's awesome. So she is incredibly helpful to our network, to our team. We are super excited to have her here. So she is let me tell you about her. She is known as the plus size motivator, known as Coach Tulin. And she's a 6-star diamond coach. She averages 100 Success Club points a month. And my dog won't stop barking, sorry. I'm going to mute in a minute, I promise. Oh my God. Of course he barks right now. She was elite last year, number 30 in the company. I'm going to hand it over because my dog is just having a fit over here going mute. Welcome to Lynn.
Hey, if I can say a few words too to Lynn. We just watched.
By the way,
Coco.
I love Jason Diebold. I just have to say
thank
publicly.
You. Yeah. We just watched Coco. How many people here have seen Coco, the new Disney movie? Jeff turned me on to it. So yeah, right? It's amazing. Jeff's like, this is the best movie I've ever seen. Not animated movie, best movie. But like, I would hope that somehow, like, part of the reason we have Tulin here today is like karma. And it goes back to LA like 5-6 years ago. Her and her husband came to one of the first Super Saturdays that we had out there. And, they said they were associated with Jimmy Nelson, which probably got my attention. But just sat there, listened to a story. Me and her husband connected really well because we're both logical thinkers. But she was so passionate back then and talking about the community she was working with that somehow she drew me in. But when we started talking, Jeff and I, about having these calls again, like the very first person I thought of was like, we need to have Tulin, because I really think that she has the best process with, introducing herself to her tribe, getting them involved, maybe involved into a group of some sort, and then telling them, you know what, you're helping other people. Why not be a coach? And then coach level training 1, 2, 3. Like, I don't want to steal your thunder, but just so excited to have you here today. And somehow I think, maybe karma is paying off because we were nice in the past. So I guess the message is be nice. And you'll have Tulin on your call.
Well, honestly, Beachbody was the first introduction I had in a long time of kind-hearted people that was supportive of each other, and there was no drama or trauma or ripping people apart. It was like, it didn't matter whose downline you were in, right? Like, it was just everybody poured into each other. And I will tell you, hold on, this light is like severe. So severe. All right, there we go. And I hadn't had that experience. The only other place I'd ever had that experience was a company that my husband built. So it was unusual to me. And I was instantaneously drawn to Jason Diebold. And I just was trying to, like, what I was hearing his background and trying to kind of figure him out. And I told him, I told him the story twice, but I think the last time we talked about it, like, it all connected. But I was so impressed that I waited outside a Super Saturday when we used to have him at Beachbody headquarters, and I needed to connect with him. Like, I just needed to connect with his heart. So the fact that Jeff and Jason and Lindsay had me come out, to their retreat, or your guys' retreat, I should say, meant so much to me. Lindsay and I met we were both in the Country Heat test group together, and I had some questions, and somehow we just like created this, I don't remember how it happened, Lindsay, but somehow we created this like success partnership, and she was doing things that I really wanted to do. I had things that I could share with her, and what we do doesn't benefit each other financially. There's no, well, I can't help you because you might be better than I am, or it's just not the Beachbody culture. And then there's Jeff Armbruster, who I was so excited to spend time with him that weekend because he's a legend. He's totally a legend. And so I was like, wow, even though we were in another test group, I think Shift Shop together, I was like, Jeff knows who I am. Like, he knows me, and like, I just want to spend more time with him. He's legend. And I listen to these guys talk and pour into your team in Florida. And I will tell you, this girl took notes the entire time. I took notes the entire time because they had so much to offer. So it really was a blessing that I got to be in that room as well. And it was phenomenal. Anyway, so I'm going to gush, I'm done gushing your team, but of course it just ask and I'm here. And I think I should say, I think it is the culture of Beachbody. I know that we all pour into each other's teams and do what we can. So what I was asked to talk about was how I run large challenge groups. Now, Lindsay is really great at getting to the bottom of things, but Jason just was like, okay, ask me all these questions. And he was digging in deep. And you know what? I hope I answered every single one and beyond his expectation, because he has given so much back. These guys have given so much back. So if anything I don't answer or need clarification, you guys have got me I'm happy to hang on until 7 o'clock unless you guys cut off sooner, whatever you guys want. Happy to answer questions and help out in any way I can, because these guys have made a tremendous difference in my heart, in my life, and my family. So all that being said, so how do I run large challenge groups? So I needed to find a way that I could run this business that allowed me to help a lot of people. 100 SC points, I guess, is impressive, but that's not what this business is about. But I genuinely love helping people in fitness. I love helping other women like myself. It's important to me. It matters to me. It is my passion. It is my heart. And my goal has been, as I continue to work towards that and helping people do this, to do for them in finance what they've done in fitness. Because if I can change somebody's life in the way that Jimmy Hayes Nelson helped change ours, didn't do the work for us, wasn't like, an active super in my face trainer, but when he talks, it might take me a minute to listen, but I hear you sometimes 2 years later. And he always knows when I get that aha, and he goes, oh gosh, here it comes. Here's her next evolution in her business, right? So that's coaching. It's not coddling. It's not like what am I going to teach you tonight? It's not about my exact information. It's about coming from you and where your passion is and how you want to best serve. Okay. So, I do help a lot of people. And so how can I do this in a way that would maintain some balance in my life, and be of service in a way that allowed me to continue to help people continuously through the month? So I haven't listened to the National Wake Up Call yet this morning. I always listen to the recording, but I know she had talked about onboarding throughout the month, right? That was her topic. I'm going to listen to that, and I don't even know what she shared, but I highly recommend that you listen to that along with this, because she's talking about being able to do things throughout the month. I personally don't like to blitz. I don't like to blitz in recruiting. I don't like to blitz in anything. I like just to consistently help people over time, because in those blitzes, people come on, and as much as I want to be there for them and help them through this process for the long term, the reality is people also go, and that sucks. But it happens, right? So what can I do to help this out? So let me tell you where I started with it, where it evolved, and then how I got to where I am, because I assume, how many of you guys are brand new coaches in here, like struggling running a challenge group? Jason, did you raise your hand? That's legit truth though, right? Hold on, you're muted. You have to unmute. There you go.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I've been through a dry patch, so yeah, I want to know better ways. And one of the things that she does really well is not only, have a challenge group, but she has a consistent challenge group that runs on a set time period that is expandable enough to handle 2, which I know I can do well, but can I handle 200? And I love the way that she's done that. So yeah, but I also do it as an example. If you're new to this coaching and you're not super comfortable with running groups of more than 5 people, raise your hand, give her the feedback.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Your feedback is really, really key for me. So please don't be shy. And otherwise I'll feel like I have a booger in my nose and it'll get really awkward for me. So just kidding. Just kidding. Anyway, so no, but I love the fact that Jason did raise his hand because we're always evolving in this business. Okay. So where I started in this was before we had official challenge groups. I never had been in a challenge group. Nobody walked me through the process. My coach is amazing, but he doesn't actively run challenge groups. He had an accountability group. So I kind of got some exposure to accountability groups. You guys, I was like the anti-coach, anti-Shakeology. I want nothing to do with any of this stuff. Don't talk to me about your weight loss group. Don't talk to me about your business because I don't believe in any of it. And that bag of powder, I'm certainly not paying $119 a month, which is what it was then, on that crazy bag of powder. You all are nuts. You guys, I drink Shakeology every single day. I love what I do as a coach. So I'm that big no, right? So I didn't have anything to go off of. And for me to inspire someone where I was broke and homeless and all the things I was crumpled. To think that I can inspire somebody was mind blown. And so all these people, all these could have been 3, 4, could have been 10, but to me it was like a lot of people, right? No following. Because I moved away from my plus size modeling name. I was told what I do is bad for plus size women. I shouldn't be sharing this journey, blah, 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 blah. I just want to police on the internet of my own. And so I started underneath my married name. So I truly had no following in this as I got started. And so all of a sudden people were being inspired. And I'm like, well, of course I don't want to push them on Shakeology, the business. So I was trying to help coach them, but I had nothing to go off of. Oh, but I did. There are these things called challenge guides. So back in the day, you could go to the back office and there was these challenge guides, whatever. So I would go through it and I was like, yeah, that information is not going to fly. That doesn't fit who it is that I'm working with. I'm going to swap that out. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Nope. Too much weight loss conversation. Out. We're going to talk about health gains. And so I went through the challenge guide, and my very first challenge group was totally off the challenge guide, and I probably changed 5% of it. I did. And I started a Facebook page, and I had some people who wanted to come in. Of course, I didn't force them into Shakeology because I wasn't going to do that. And they weren't getting the same results I was. So weird. They didn't have the total solution. Anyways, I digress. I started Facebook and I started uploading this content that was copy paste. That was it. I had a start date and I had an end date. And every time I kind of felt like I needed to come from a different direction. But that wasn't working. So it wasn't always creative that way. And I'm like, what is my journey? Where did I start? What were my struggles? What were my ahas? What were the things that made me go, Like what made me realize that I started celebrating the green lights I would hit? I mean, crazy stuff. Like it was this real journey into the self-awareness. And so I started incorporating pieces of myself as I stood in that moment into my challenge groups, and people responded. Because at the time, it wasn't all plus size women I worked with. The first coach ever signed up. Now you have to understand, I was about 375 pounds when I started on this journey, somewhere between 350 and 400. Okay. And so the very first person I signed up who was inspired by me to sign up as a coach was quite legitimately 1/4 my size. So you will inspire anyone. You will be amazed. It has nothing to do with your 6-pack abs, has nothing to do with your size, has nothing to do with your background, the letters, none of it. You as you will inspire people. So off I went running with Facebook. Every month I was starting a new one. Every month I was uploading new content, start and end. As I started progressing through this, I started to realize I've got a process that's evolving, that's been helping a lot of people. Why don't I start piecing this together? I don't know if that took me 6 months. I don't know if that took me a year and a half, but there was some time over consistency over time in the business, and that evolved as well. I began to discover that I had some things of my own that I could share. And I realized that a lot of people, their biggest struggle was not to get started, and this is something Jason and I talked a lot about, but how to get them prepped in the mindset before they get started, and to all those reasons why they might not move forward. Like everybody who signs up with me knows about 30-day money back guarantee. Everybody knows about the coaching. If there is something that could be offered to somebody in this network, I hold none of it back, because I would have been mad if Jimmy held anything back. Like didn't tell me I could get a discount, didn't tell me 30-day money back guarantee. I'd be furious. So I really come from a place of total transparency and disclosure. So as I started progressing this journey, I said, okay, what are holding people back from Shakeology? What held me back? So in all of this, group prep was developed. And all group prep was a week's worth of content that was a mix between my experiences, both new and older, and a mix of what Beachbody traditionally puts out in each one of their programs, measurements, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things that I added in this week-long group prep, I noticed, by the way, I say a week-long of group prep content. Notice I didn't say it's 1 week long. There's a reason for that, and I'll explain that to you. So I eventually got to the point to where I'm like, hey, I really have to spend some time prepping people to get ready for their start date. So what holds people back from Shakeology? It makes me feel gassy. I don't like the way it tastes. So if I say I don't like the way it tastes, I tell them openly in a video that they watch, how did Yummy work for you before? Because I know that Yummy got me to 350 plus pounds, right? So like Shakeology isn't Yummy. It's dense nutrition. It's like drinking your vitamins. Just from my perspective, it is not a McDonald's milkshake, and it's the worst name in the world, second only to the name Beachbody. But, you know, it is what it is. So I created the group prep, and then I would go through the challenge tracker, right? The challenge guides, and then they started evolving into mine. So how did I morph that into being able to help a lot of people continuously on a monthly basis without losing my mind? So there are times I have a lot of people that reach out to me. I have a requirement to be in my group. I don't half coach and I don't coddle. In order to be in my group, you have to be willing to be coachable, and you must get a challenge pack. Why? Because I don't have the talent yet. Maybe some of you guys do with some letters behind your names. I don't. To be able to coach them in a way that I know I can make a difference for them that's different than the way I came in. And the way that I came in when I finally started getting all this progress was with the total solution, okay? Which is with the Shakeology, which is with the program. So I didn't half coach. So as this began to evolve, I had to find a home for content. Now, we have something called Challenge Tracker. You can use the Challenge Tracker to do this. You can create an Excel document of all your information and your daily posts that you can just copy and paste in. I highly encourage the Challenge Tracker. As a matter of fact, I do use the Challenge Tracker for my for those that I work with as an option, and I'll tell you how I do that. If I forget, please remind me. So eventually what I did is I took all of that information that I began to build over time, and I went to an external source. And there's free ones, there's paid ones, there's lots of great free ones, or again, use a challenge tracker, and I inserted all the information into it. The only thing about challenge tracker, unless it's changed, that I couldn't do was I couldn't give them pre-start information prior to the actual start date of the group. I'm not sure if that's changed. Like I could do like a post, but I wanted to be able to organize and tab out my information and walk them through it. So I took all that information, I put it offsite. So here's what I do. Each and every month, as I go through the month, anybody who starts, who signs up with a challenge pack, which dates are they, Cream? Between the Friday before, the Saturday before to Friday goes into the group prep information. So anybody who signs up the Saturday before to the Friday goes into group prep information, which is a week's worth of content. And I ask them to go through it slowly. I ask for them not to zoom through it. I give them step-by-step instructions on how I expect for them to go through this information, and they know from the get-go that I expect them to follow the steps. Because if I can tell in the Facebook group that they haven't, I say it. Like you can tell right away when people aren't in your content, and you gently direct them back to the information. Okay. So if I start them from that period of time, no matter who says up, they go into the group prep. I've let them know ahead of time about the group prep information, what steps they need to take in what order. I have a video that's actually a recorded call that has some other people who were brand new to group prep and some veterans that came on. They just showed up. I just went organically with what happened, that some of them had some insight that I was so close to the content and they were newer to it. They offered really valuable information and tips for those who are brand new. Because in our group, we love to wrap our arms around new people, right? Don't we love doing that in coaching? So they go through the information. They do not get added to the group, the actual coaching content, until sometime the following Monday. Why do we say sometime the following Monday? Because we're two brains, my husband, there he is, behind his chair, myself, and 20 fingers, things fall through the cracks, okay? So I'm not really good at being punctual. I'm great at some things, but I believe in creative punctuality. So if I'm there within 15 to 20 minutes, I'm on time. So we say sometimes on Monday. So my husband goes through. He knows everybody who's come through because he's tracked everybody on the challenge tracker. He knows they've already been put into group prep right away. Immediately sends an email, a welcome email to them, letting them know about all we do, including about coaching and information they can go to if they're interested. It's all in their hands. And I tell them to keep this for their reference. On Monday, they're added to the challenge group. So the challenge group I have in this particular case, and now it's grown, I have two important levels of coaching. The first level of coaching, and you think about the kind of person you love to serve. It's not about the niche. It's not just plus size. That's just part of what I talk about, but I talk about me and my journey and struggle and where I am in that moment and how often I go back to it. Like women go back to their coaching content all the time. It's like their guidebook. It's their place to go back to reconnect. It's their information to go back to. Something they miss now means something to them. It's amazing. Not the content, just that women do that. Content's amazing too, I think. Anyway, so on Monday, they're added. So there's two levels of coaching. The first level of coaching, my only intention is to get them to enjoy moving their body. I want to strip away everything. I don't want them to worry about cleaning out their pantry. I don't want them to worry about the eating program. I don't want them to worry about anything. I just want them to experience joy in the body they're in. That's it. The rest of it will come. If I can get them to love and enjoy the body they're in and love who they are, I know in my heart of hearts, guaranteed, #fact, that when they love themselves, that they will continue to take very good care of themselves. So that is the purpose of my first month. So for you, it might be different. So who are you? What is your heart? That may not fit. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I just want to stop for a second there. And what she's talking about, because we talked earlier in the week, is that she gets people started right off the bat with the selection of one of the programs, and it has to be a dance program.
Yes.
Am I right or right?
Yep.
Right. And recently, like I've been struggling with my cardio, getting back into it. I tried Insanity. I know that'll work. I can do P90X and that'll work. But there was no joy in that. I would sit there and I'd watch the clock. And she's so right on when you just try one of these dance programs. And we've got like 4 of them now.
Yeah.
Something hip hop or country or just something in the middle. I think it's a great concept to get people started with just moving your body and have fun with exercise. So I just wanted to add to that.
And that's key. And I'm glad he brought that up, because for my ladies, just moving your body and dancing, there was at some point in our life we moved our body and danced and didn't care. We laughed and played and twirled around in circles and pulled our little things around. I mean, think about what little girls do, right? Like they'll sing in front of anyone. Well, most kids, you know what I'm saying? Like they just don't have fear of judgment until they learn that there's a fear of being judged, right? So I take them back to that is my hope, is what I do. And so yes, they are only allowed to select from the workout, the whatever the 5, it's hip hop abs, rockin' body, size, country heat, and UV2. P.S. I didn't do a big launch for UV2. I never do program launches. I'm all about our complete program. Everything we have to offer. I do not need a program launch. So I did with size, and I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I believe very much in promoting the merits of what we have to do, us individually first in the way that we serve, and then Beachbody on demand and our entire catalog and everything as a whole. So in that group prep, one of the exercises I have them do is I have a sheet that they go through, because you look at Beachbody on demand, it's like you feel like you can hop around. Doesn't everything need to hop around from one workout to the other and try it? The most important part, and we've all learned this, the more we plug into a program, the more likely we are to finish it. That's how most of us work, a start and an end. And so I actually introduce them to the entire program and give them like a year-long game plan, and it's broken up. So here's the programs you can choose from. And no, you can't just go yoga. No, you can't do 21-day fix. Remember when you promised to be coachable? Here it is. So they have to choose those dance programs. Once they complete that first month of coaching, And there are steps that they have to follow towards the end, and I do not tell them where it is, and it is a sworn secret in the group. There are steps they have to take and post in our Facebook group, because I require all conversation to go on our Facebook group, and I'll explain to you why I do this. It's a lot of info, right? But hopefully this is helpful and you guys will get nuggets. You have to listen to this again. I hope it's recorded. It is recorded. Okay, cool. So once they complete that, they go back, and I think it's, there's 2 assignments that I'm always looking for. One is changing the way they speak to themselves, and they mark it off and they write the positive. And the other one is, what would you say to yourself, having gone through this process now, to the person you were 30 days ago? And it'll come out like, I don't know how I trusted this crazy bee. Like I don't know. I fell in love with her online, but I wasn't sure. And she wanted me to buy the stuff. Like, they get so brutally honest in what it is that they share, like, about me. And then it comes out on the other side, and they're telling themselves this, they're talking to their day 1 self at day 30. And they're like in tears. They're like, I had no idea I can complete this. By the way, I could barely get these women to move, and now they're killing 80-day obsession. Just saying. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I just want to add a point there. I think that's an ingenious idea. I've always loved the idea of doing a scavenger hunt type of thing. And the opposite is just to have a group where you post every day, nobody posts back. The other opposite is to have like a 90 days diamond where every day is something you have to do and post every day. Both of those things never get done. Like, you know, you're just following somebody, or you're not going to post every day. So to have a scavenger hunt that has set things, not every day, but, you know, as your own time happens, is ingenious. And I would attest maybe part of the reason that you're having success. So I just wanted to focus that on some of the newer coaches here that are confused about 90 days to diamond or something else. This is a great way to run your groups.
Yeah, and by the way, this took because I showed up year after year after year. And my success is completely built on getting up and being messy and failing every single day. Everything I'm sharing with you came from massive screw-ups, ups and downs in the business. Like, I'm in a struggle in the business right now. I mean, it happens. No great business or true business is always going to be like this, right? Like, you've got to have ups and downs and be willing to tweak. If you're like, oh, I'm having a rough time, I quit. That'd be like quitting on your spouse because you got in a little argument. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to give it time. So the good thing about the game plan that I'm talking about, and I broke it down in my own way, muscled up. I don't know, it has all these cute little terminologies. What's really cool is because they get so excited about Beachbody on Demand, it allows them to game plan a year out in advance, but giving them permission to be flexible and for them to be able to track like what workouts they've actually completed, and then to be able to be excited about creating a plan a year from now. So I just got them to commit for a year from now. I took off all the jitters about Beachbody on Demand, right? And then they're getting excited. I also personally walk them through Beachbody on Demand. Personally. I don't use third party. I believe in third-party tools. They're awesome. But everything that would stop them on Beachbody on Demand, overwhelmed, which I'll get a tick and say overwhelm's a choice because that's what my coaches taught me from the very beginning when I love that word. But everything that would overwhelm and stop them, immediately from the get-go, I am answering those questions. Why? Because I know my lady. I know her. She's like me. I attracted her. Okay? So I told you about group prep. I told you when I start adding people in, a week's worth of content. I stop on Friday because they have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to prep. Here's the deal. The content in the first level of coaching that they have is going to be there. It's there for them. So I give them some grace that if they need a couple of days to catch up on the group prep, because I tell them don't zoom through it. You are to digest it, not like inhale it, okay? Take the time and digest the information. I give them the grace to start a couple days later. That's okay. This is your journey. There's no time limit, speed limit. There's nothing. So it gives them a little time, but they always have Fit Sisters along the way with them. Once they complete these assignments, then they can enter the next coaching group, but I tell them, you must email us by a Friday. I tell them what the email needs to say because my husband takes care of all that, and then they will be added to the next level of coaching, and they know when that will happen. They go to the next level of coaching. I have coaching content in there that's in the next level of coaching, I should say, is just next level stuff. It's just next level stuff. So some of it will expand on what they went through in the first coaching. The second level of coaching I have is just deeper. It's just deeper. We got the foundation. Now we're going to get deeper. And that's all that is. So By doing this content, I have yoga content. We just did a 7-day reboot last week in the group. That content is being added in. And so it's really great that once they've completed month 1 and month 2, they actually will end up getting access to the other coaching content. I have coaching on content that walks them through Ultimate Reset. And I just do it as I experience it. And I don't do it for every program. I used to teach modifications for like whatever exercise they ran across. So I'm going to explain the difference between coaching and coddling for a second. And then I realized my ladies weren't moving forward and moving their body until they knew exactly how to modify it for them. I'm like, I'm doing a disservice. It is better for me to teach them how to learn to move their body and appreciate and love it and celebrate the progress and that everybody was an amateur than a professional than spoon feeding them every single step. My job is to coach and guide, not to hold their hands and wipe their nose and anything else to get them to where they need to go. That doesn't help them long term. If somebody does take advantage of 30-day money back guarantee, my heart feels right that when they leave that group, they still left with something that hopefully they'll use and it'll change their life. And here's the reality of the coaching content. They're only going to get maybe 1, 3, 5 nuggets from it for what their brain is ready to receive. And I tell them that. And then if they're having struggles later on, they can actually go back to that coaching content. As long as they're on Shakeology Home Direct. Oh, you are so mean. I thought you were about helping people. I am. I believe in the cornerstone of dense nutrition. I know my lady well. I require it. I have no shame in that. Now, for them to communicate with me, how long did it evolved over time, Lisa? Remember, this evolved over time. It was, you have experiences. Even if you're a day 1 coach, you have experiences. But instead of getting hung up on trying to write this brand new content, just go to the challenge guides and allow it to evolve over time. Give yourself the permission to experience. Don't feel like you've got to have all this perfect content. Mine was messy. Mine had typos. If you read any of my posts, you got to read it out loud to know what the heck I'm trying to say. Grammatical errors all around. Like, I rarely get English, although I have a couple of editors, book editors, stuff like that in my group, but they just give me grace and let it go. It's like, we just know it's who you are. They don't judge me how you're and you're. Okay, so these groups I just talked about, I do host outside of Facebook. Okay. There are tons of options. Teachery out there. In full disclosure, I use Kajabi, but I'm spending quite a bit of money every single month for Kajabi, and that's where I started. So I'm only saying because I know somebody's going to ask me. I'm going to suggest to you that if I had another way to go about it, I would probably evaluate some other options, and there's tons of them out there now. Teachery, I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but they're out there. Out of the dance program, which one do you do most of your challenge? Randy asked, out of your dance programs, which one do most of your challengers use? I don't know. I don't keep track. I don't. I put that, that's their responsibility. What I find is, and they're like, when somebody says, oh yeah, I can't do country heat. I'm like, oh, you don't like country music either? I was like, you want me to country what? And then I went to Country Heat, and I was like Cotton Eye Joe, and I was singing along, and I'm like, oh, now I like country music. I have nothing to like stick my nose up about anymore because I like this music too, because I like everything else. So I do encourage them to get outside their comfort zone, and then they do. Think, improve upon, yes. Thinkific yeah, there you go. And I think there's free options too. And the freest option you have right now, actually, I'm sorry, it's part of the $15.95 you're paying, is my challenge tracker. You have that option. You can do that. So here's what I do. I cannot be in a lot of places at once. I just can't. So this is really neat. And I would get your pen and paper ready because I think this is the most beautiful part about our group. In my Facebook group is where they go to connect, whether they are brand new, day 1, or a veteran. When everybody's commenting and sharing their journey, the brand new people are seeing people who've made maybe 4 days ahead of them, maybe 4 months ahead of them, maybe a year and a half ahead of them. But they're able to look and see what's possible based off of what somebody's been sharing on their journey. So I used to demand it, I no longer do. I encourage them to go to Facebook and communicate their journey. So if somebody who's brand new watches their fit sister who completed day 30 of the first level of coaching and they read their letter, they see a piece of themselves in that letter and they go, oh my gosh, look what's possible. I want this for me. Yeah, Jason says, I love this, and burnout has been an issue for all top elite. Oh, yes. I mean, I burned out with this too, honestly. I had to revitalize it a little bit. Listen to this technique. Yes. Okay, got it. Okay, so I forced them into Facebook. The reason why I still use Facebook is just because it is a place that most people are still checking in. And it's a place that they can connect. It's a place that they can build relationships. I've had lovers come out of my group. I've had, friends come out of my group. I've had best friends come out of my group. We've had babies born in our group. Like, there's just so much love in the group that they get to know each other. And a lot of people didn't have this kind of support. So now their friends and their 5 around them are people who are only in there in a non-negative environment, no nastiness, no flaming, positive, all uplifting. And let me tell you something, and Jackie and Lindsay, and I know some of you guys are PCOSs out there, we all know what hormones can do to our moods and to our posts. I have 0 of that in my group. 0. Why? Because they understand what's important to be a part of that group, and that's a place that they can go to be that other side. If they want to post nasty, I have a list for them. It's really short and easy. Ready? Get a pen and paper. I just say, see rest of internet, not here. That's it. But people want positivity, and they want that culture. So that Facebook group is really key. So I'll run sometimes, like the reboot I just did. I ran that in the Facebook group. Sometimes people just need a reboot in the reset of a mindset. I had all these people who hadn't been participating in the group say, I need the reboot. I need the reboot. Perfect. Now they've done the reboot. I got them to commit to something on Monday, and the vast majority of them are going back in the coaching content they've already gone through before. That's incredible. Challenge tracker. Here's how I use the challenge tracker. I love that the challenge tracker, you can track your Shakeology and your workouts. People like to click buttons. Yes, I wish they had performance on there as well, performance line, but they like to track buttons. I do not post in there. I say they can use the challenge tracker purely to track, and if they like to be able to do that kind of tracking on their phone, that they can do that. It is not mandatory. It is an option, and we redo that about every 6 weeks, Cream?
Every 6 weeks.
About every 6 weeks, because my husband goes through and makes sure that people are on Shakeology. We do that. We have an honor system on Shakeology because I make it really clear. Like, I tell them, like, there's no going to Amazon to buy your product because we're a shared economy in here. So everything that we do as a group helps other sisters build and also helps run this group. So they're like, oh no, we're not going to go do that because we don't want to be that person. What else? Oh, hold on. Let me ask you. I run my free groups on my big accountability group so people who aren't in a challenge can see everyone who's participating, killing it. Make someone to jump. Exactly. So Rosalie, exactly. Here's the other side of it. My challengers are the greatest coaches in the world. They are doing everything it takes to be a coach. Now, Lindsay knows that the part of my business is why I love tapping into her. Part of my business is helping those coaches grow into coaches that are building the business. I've said it to her, but I'm patient. I'm patient. If it's going to take them time to find this and see it in themselves, then I'm going to take them through the activities, and when they're ready to go, I'm ready to run with them. Well, guess what's happened in the past several weeks? A bunch of them now are ready to go because they've gone through this process. So they kind of come in pods, but everybody knows about it. And I always tell them, you're doing the coaching. So they help coach each other. Here's the other thing I don't do. I do not comment on every single post. I don't. It's not realistic for me, and I don't want them to feel like that their value and worth on their journey starts and stops with me. I don't want it to be about me. I don't want it to be about my voice. I understand that they came into the group because they connected with me, and the way I'm connecting with them are those I actually don't like the term, like, my groups are about health gains, weight loss happens, right? But I know what my ladies want, and I give them what they need. But I do it in a way that doesn't deprive them. I do it in a way that makes them feel empowered. And then they go, oh, all the stuff that I've been wanting to do, I just focus on the wrong thing, right? So that's really where I focus. But they all are going through everything we do as a coach. They encourage each other. They lift each other. And the rule is, if you've been lifted because you had a struggle, you need to go pour into the group because there's no energy vampires allowed in my group. No Debbie Downer posts. I know we all go through rough times. I've been through rough times too. If anybody who's a part of the 80-Day Obsession group, anyone? Okay. Have you noticed the pattern of posts lately? Everybody, and this is from my most loving place in my heart, but we're all going through some ish. We're all dealing with some stuff. But everybody feels the need now to write their life stories and the struggles they're going through, which I think are very valid and important. Please understand I'm coming from the right place. But what's happening is now it's an avalanche of those posts. So I'm always really aware in my groups to make sure that when they post, if they have a struggle, their solution or a step for the next time they run across it, or how this was different for them before. Like I had, my first week really sucked. Okay, well, first of all, what did you do well? What NSVs do you have? She's like, oh, Tulin's calling me out. All of a sudden they have them. And then their attitude changes. And I said, let me ask you something. How would you have done this before you started in this group? Oh, I would have totally quit. I wouldn't have done anything. And I'm like, that's a non-scale victory. I tell my ladies in my group, if you woke up today taking a breath, that's a non-scale victory because somebody took their last. Like just putting things in perspective. But they're not hearing from me every single post. I do a lot of lives. How do you handle those who look for validation for cheating or not working out for a day or just want to complain? And then you have others who think they're being positive and like, it's okay. Okay. I put the kibosh on it. Here's the deal, you guys. I know who I'm working with. I know exactly what we present as reasons that are actually excuses, and I walk them through it. Because here's the difference about working with a niche market, which is you and who you want to serve. You know what you're going to use to hold you back. This is what I say. Like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your BS meter. I want you to recalibrate it, and I want you to turn it on high. And then I want you to take whatever you just shared with me, and I want you to run it through it. And then you let me know, is it a valid reason or is it an excuse? 9 times out of 10, it's exposed as an excuse. So I did just answer it. So weird, Michael. I totally just answered it. But yes, I put the kibosh on it. And then my team will also put the kibosh on it. And if they're struggling with it, they'll like tag me on it. And I come in and say, listen, I'm going to come from the most loving place right now. Here's how I need you to look. And I just break it down and I change it immediately. People find me sometimes being brash. I'm not. I'm just to the point because I think for me, I've had too many people try to tiptoe their way around me. I wish you just would have gotten to the point and just came from a place of love and put your hands on my shoulder and said, listen, I see you. I validate you. I know what you're struggling with. Please let me take you from what you're at right now. Let's leap over all of it and let me get you right here. Do you trust me? Yes, I do. And we do. Not everybody responds to that, but in my group, they do because they know me. Rosalie said, it's crazy to me that there are so much negativity at the beginning. I'm so glad. Yeah. And the 80-day obsession group is a perfect example of how culture can get out of control. It's from the right place. Autumn pours herself into those programs. She's the most amazing woman in the world. It's a perfect example of how things will begin to domino. So what things in your niche market or you tend to help, do they tend to allow to domino? And then you have to turn it around. Like, see, for me, my ladies come in a lot of failures, right? I'm like, oh, okay, I'm about to take that failure, turn it into a data set, because now you actually know what happens in these situations, right? Like, thank goodness you went through that because now you know. So now we can prepare for it when it happens in the future, because here's the deal. Stuff's going to go wrong. People are on a weight loss journey. People have a lot of weight to lose. Guess what happens? Our body remembers the weight. So as soon as we have a struggle and we start putting on a gain, our body's like, path of least resistance. I know you like that emotional eating. Put that Haagen-Dazs in a wine glass and try to make it look as sexy and, okay as you can. And let's dive back into this thing you really like, because you're pushing yourself too hard. Like, that's what my body likes to do. That's what my mind likes to do. So I have to fight that gremlin every day. So I have really open conversations about my group, and that really helps stop that, Michael. Oh, there's more. What's your experience with free groups? Okay. I am actually thinking about I shouldn't say dip my toe, but dip my toe doesn't do anything. I'm actually going to be going back into free groups because I want to offer. I have a lot of people that follow me online. I know I have a lot of coaches. And I know that 99.9% of those people who follow me will never reach out to me, and I'm so okay with it. But I would like to offer like week-long or 5 days, like quick wins to help people see what's possible in them. And either they will come out and come work with me in my group, or they will walk with the nugget or just the knowledge of, hey, I was able to see something through and complete it and have something that they could take with them for the rest of their life. I have friends that run free groups that do really well with them. They usually run them very much like clockwork, very consistently, and they have a one-time in rule. and they must comment and engage. And if they don't, they send a nice email and say, hey, this might not be a great time for you. Would you like for me to reach out for you the next time that we open one? Yes. By the way, would you like to hear about my other coaching I provide? Sure. Sometimes it bypasses the whole free group. So yeah, I've definitely been leaning in that direction. How do you handle those who look for, okay, I already read that one. Oh, I guess I saw it.
You're caught up.
Did you say, yes, one time, hi, Miss Stacy. I didn't know you were here. Here's my other love bug. Oh, this guy's team is like full, like all of my favorite people. Did you say one? Yes. So what they do is when they come to be a part of the group, like they actually run like a $60 ad. I'm telling you exactly what they do that works for them that I'm going to do. So they run a one-time $60 ad. It's nothing special or crazy. They bring them into the group, but they only can go through the group one time. So just they're allowed to be in the group one time. And once they graduate, like they just bring in new people. Does that make sense?
Hey, Tulin.
Who's that?
Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay.
Your favorite? No, I'm just kidding.
You're my favorite. There's a few of you are my favorites in here. What am I like, I love all my children. I can't love more one than the other.
Can you tell them, since we have some new guys on, can you talk about how you handle the objection before they come into your group? Because you did a really good job explaining this in Florida. And yeah. Did you hear what I said?
I would love to.
Knows me.
Oh my God.
Sorry. You guys have to know me. I'm not good. I censor myself a little bit, but I really believe in just being my heart. Oh, it's not the book. It's the wrong book. I love no. I love no. So you asking about my love of no's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I am a big believer that no's serve a tremendous purpose in this world. And the one that I love the most is the fact that it's a universal house cleaning. And it's the universe keeping the people away from me that I probably shouldn't have in my path right now. And I'm not meant to help them. I like to think of, I have a lot of people that reach out to me. Now, my business has had to shift to do a lot more reaching out to other people, which is fine. I had to build up to where I am by doing that. And so now I'm incorporating more of that. But even with the people who reach out to me, who I get to know their goals. Oh, can I love on one of Jason's favorite people? Okay. Barbie Decker, Overcoming Objections, Part 4 and 5. And it's on there as Decker. Maybe they changed the collab, but I'm pretty sure it's over by Decker. This was plugged in my ears. So Jimmy, my coach, like there's certain nuggets he'll give me and they stick, right? Barbie was like my spirit beast is what I call her instead of my spirit animal because of beast connection. Anyways, from like the very early days of my coaching. I tell people about this all the time. I do not know how it does not have millions of views. I listen to that because I was afraid of rejection too. As a matter of fact, sometimes I'll get atomic no's, like, you're the worst person in the world, atomic no, like, you want to make money off of me. And I'm like, well, the way I get to do what I do is because I actually get paid doing it. I hope that you're not getting, working for free. But what I loved about what she taught in that was the overcoming objections. It really showed me to give people grace and to have a way to be able to communicate back to them to get them past their no. I was a hardcore atomic no. I ate coaches for breakfast. If coaches reached out to me about what it is I was doing because I just want to share on Instagram, and I realized that they immediately invited me to their weight loss group, they heard from me. What makes you think that I want to lose weight? Because I'm big? Well, let me explain to you. I actually want to live. I actually want to be able to play with my kids. So please don't assume about my size that I need your accountability. And by the way, if you have any ladies like me, you can send her my way because I can coach them better than you. I was mean. I was angry. Okay. So I give people a lot of grace. So even when I get an atomic no, an atomic objection, I tell them, and I do it through BombBomb. I didn't mention this. I use BombBomb a lot, which is video messaging through my Gmail. And I use the Chrome extension. So if anybody, thank you. If any of you guys go and look at BombBomb, those things are very specific because I don't want things heavily branded. I don't want things heavily polished. It's very eye to eye. Okay. Or eyes to eyes. This. And I tell them, and I say in a video, and I say, listen, I totally understand where you're coming from. I appreciate you being kind because I wasn't kind. So here's what I want to tell you. I'm here to help you. You've reached out to me and I'd love to be able to do that. And when you reevaluate what it is that you've had to say, I hope that you know if you reach back out to me that I'm going to open up my heart wider and my arms, and I'm here for you when you're ready. Kareem, yes. How many of those people come back on an email?
Just about 90%.
About 90% of those people come back and they say, I'm so sorry. Can we move forward? Like, yeah. Some of them turned out to be some of my best participants in my group and now growing coaches. So I believe in giving people grace. I also don't take no's as a definition of who I am or that I suck or any of those things, because I've learned to be really confident in who I am and be willing to grow at all times. And either we're a good fit for each other or we're not. So I'm a big believer in the power of no. Where this cup came from was I actually said this on, I said it on a training, and I posted it on my Instagram, and the people who wrote Go for No saw it, and they're like, that's the best thing I ever saw. And we became friends. Andrea and I became friends. I was at Leadership in Las Vegas this past November, walking out of the casino, and up comes Andrea. We happened to run into each other, and she recognized me, and we actually finally met in person. It's an amazing group book, and they're amazing people. And if you haven't read Go for No, I highly recommend that you do. And I highly recommend that you plug in to that Overcoming Objections part 4 and 5. Tommy's part 1 through 3 is really amazing too. But I would plug in that before I commented. Before I replied. When I got a no, I just had Barbie in my ears. So find a Barbie. And maybe it's Barbie being your Barbie. So many of us let no, Jeff's talking. I'm going to listen. Hold on. So many of us let no stop and define us. You can't. No simply means not right now. Exactly. Show grace. Yep. Don't burn the other side of the bridge because they will come back. They will. You guys, remember your evolution as a coach. We have this expectation that somehow, and we are going to help them skip steps, right? We are going to be able to help them cut some corners. But we forget how we came into this business and how we evolved in it, or how we evolved in our fitness. I was just talking to somebody who was like, I have this couple, and they keep saying they want to do it, but they keep saying they don't have money. Hi, honey. You something to say?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. Let me finish this and I'll let because when he speaks, it's like, oh. Okay. And I'm like, hey, listen, do you remember how you got started with me? What made you comfortable? What made you to sort of trust me? Was it a 30-day money back guarantee? Like, what was it? And then remember that they may have that too, you know? That's right. You can call me Turin. I'm like what do you call it? The shroud? Okay, hold on. Brilliance is coming. I don't know what he has to say.
Well, it's just a...
Say hi to Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, man, good to see you.
And hey, everyone. One thing I want to add, and this is something that unless you've been consistent in this business, you will never see. And that is, I deal with the email ones all the time, the first email, the interaction. And I always look at somebody, whether I recognize their name or not, to see if they have emailed us previously. I can't tell you the amount of times somebody emailed us once, didn't fill out the questionnaire. Somebody emailed us again.
Correction. The questionnaire is the Barbie Decker part 4 and 5. Girl, tell me all about you. Tell me about your goals and struggles. That turned into a questionnaire, but it's the same thing. So if you don't have a high volume of people coming through, stay out of the questionnaire. You don't need it. Follow what Barbie said. Okay, go on.
But basically what it shows us is literally there's tons of times that I can look at our inbox and see people that I've been following for a year, might have reached out, wanted to just see, might have reached out 2, 3, 4 years ago. And it's one of those things that you can, because we've been using the same email this whole time, and because Tulin has consistently done this business year after year, you know, for as long as she has, there is an ability for them to go, you know what? I made a mistake. I'm reaching back out to you.
Or now I'm ready.
Or now I'm ready, or whatever that is. But if you don't give them the chance to do that by not being there yourself, you've already lost out on all of that volume of people that are going to be reaching back out to you when they built that trust. Anyway, that's it.
And trust me, I have signed coaches probably underneath all you guys in here. I send people back through coaches all the time. They will reach out to me. I talk to them like that's what, you guys know that, right? Like when you guys share, Like we do that. Like we help somebody else sign somebody up without even directly. And that comes back. It's like Jason said, it's like karma. Like I have people who are like, oh, I'm ready. You know, oh my gosh, I love you, but I went and signed up with somebody else. So freaking what, dude? We're in this together. We're sisters or brothers or whatever in this together. People have to do the right fit for them. It doesn't change. So if you ever talk to somebody and they say no, and then you see that they go and sign up for somebody else, or they say no, but you see them go and start a different kind of workout, or I don't know, they decide to follow another, you know, whatever, super magical unicorn juice thing or whatever it is, I never get mad at them. I don't feel bad about it. Like everybody journeys. Because if I shook this Zoom like this, everybody's fitness journey closet would rattle. We've all tried stuff until we found what worked for us.
Yeah, I think those are great points. You know, what your husband is saying is be here a year from now. And when you commit to that 5, 10, you know, eventually it's going to be 15 and 20 years down the road. And when they see, well, Jason's 70 and he's still been doing this, you know, for like 50 years now, like you're eventually going to throw your hat in the ring. So I really like that idea. And yeah, don't give up on people, you know, just because they change their course of path. Like if they still see you going down that direction a few years down the road, they may come back to you. And really, I love to do that. It's one of my secret things. I shouldn't even say this, but if Tulin says something great to me about Jeff, I'll go to Jeff and say, hey, do you know what Tulin said about you? And then when Jeff hears that, he's going to go all the way back through, and I'll get this response or this karma a year down the road. It's like, oh my God, what did you say to Jeff? Like, what? I don't even remember saying that about him. But it's such a great way to get referrals. And yeah, send them back to their coach. Because if I send a coach back to Jimmy, you know, that I met and he's ready, I'll say, hey, you know, Jimmy's a great guy. Go back to Jimmy, sign up. When he does that, he's going to be like, hey, Jason sent me back to you. And now you got a place to stay for the rest of your life in Dallas, you know?
and not only that, you guys, you know, people will not be honest sometimes. And it was awesome because it's the worst feeling in the world. Most times people come up to me and it'll be at like Summit and they're like, hey, I really appreciate X, Y, and Z. Okay. That you spoke to somebody, you sent it back to me. I had 2 people, and I'm not saying it's the only 2 because people do change coaches and I give people the grace to be able to do that, but I'm always pushing back to their coach. It's the right thing to do. The grass is not greener and you don't want a coach jumper because they're just going to jump on you anyways. Like get people to commit. And well, like my favorite's like, well, my coach is skinny and doesn't understand my journey. And I'm like, oh, let me take this opportunity to teach you about humans, being human beings. Being human. I screwed that up. Anyways, long story short, I explained to them that the journey is a journey. And just because do you want to be judged by your body and your ability, then why are we judging them about their ability on their body? Like, oh, I never thought about that. Well, go back and talk to your coach. Like it's important, but there's nothing worse than when you're walking around Disney World and this girl, and actually it was a really bad situation. Like I had to send the cops out to her house. Like it's a whole like bit of drama. And you're walking Melissa McAllister and Mick McAllister, who were just pouring in you, biggest cheerleaders in the world, love you. I have nothing to do with their team. She goes, oh, by the way, thank you for helping me get rid of that girl. And I'm like, I had no idea. Because they misled, right? So that's always, whether you knew it happened or not, it is the worst feeling in the world when it's not an open conversation. I did say Disney World. Did I tell you I live in the shadow of Disneyland? It is 20 minutes that way.
So you get fireworks like every other night, right?
Yeah. So Jeffrey's will come out and visit Disneyland, right?
Nice to see that every night too.
Okay, Drew, what's that, Jeffrey? Oh, Arizona. Okay, cool. I'm here to help out in any way I can because whatever you guys need. Does anybody have any other questions?
I have a good question. Maybe so what's your following like on Instagram and Facebook like page, and how has that contributed to, you know, when you offer challenge groups?
Okay, so here's the deal. In all the past algorithm changes on Facebook never affected me. This last one, who did that? Because we got a problem. Like, wow, like what just happened? And I was out of sync with our business because I got shingles and a whole other thing, and I went like partially blind, all the stuff that happened. There's nothing worse than having to restart those gears, okay? So I've had to spend the time. So whatever I do today is really going to harvest in the next 6 or 8 weeks. But getting those gears going is so hard in fitness and your business, but you got to do it because the other side's worth it. Your question was, Facebook and Instagram. My Facebook has over 100,000 followers. Awesome. I also was building this business very successfully when I had no followers. Just saying. So the size of your follower is not necessarily the size of your business. There's plenty of people who have way bigger followings than mine and have no idea how to tap into that. My Instagram has, I don't know, like shy of 40,000, okay? But my Instagram is hopping right now. That's a lot of immediate conversations, And I don't care if you are a coach or being coached by someone else. If we're connecting and we can be friendly, like I like having friends. But I do always dig in before I invite them to come reach out to me if they're a coach. I do my best with that. And it's usually pretty easy to tell when you go to their page. The thing that sustained us the most in the time that I was not online, which was basically December and January, is YouTube. Video is king. And the crappier you are on video, the better. I'm being totally honest. It has nothing. There's a time and a place for super polish, and there's always a time and a place to be who you are. So, Instagram stories are creating more conversations. So I've been a little more focused on Instagram, but I'm not going to change how I'm doing Facebook, except we're going to make some adjustments. So I push everybody to my inbox. And the reason why is if they're very serious about working with me, and because of the quantity of people that came in, and just because I push a quantity over my inbox doesn't mean that they're ready to commit, right? But I really do my best to make sure that I've qualified them through the process, found out they're being coached by someone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So now Instagram Messenger is like ridiculous. So email is a great way to have less conversations now, but you want to get them on an email list. Now there's stats out there. And I just came back from Marketing Impact Academy. Messenger on Facebook has a 97% open rate.
It's actually 86. Hers personally.
Sorry, correction. My husband, the brain. 86% for most, 97% for Shalene. Okay, I'll take 87%. Email, you are lucky if 3% of them are opened. And by the way, the reason why I have them email me first, and I keep all communication on the exact same thread, everything. It may take me longer to copy and paste the promotion. I don't care. It's on the same thread. I know they will get the email, and I know there's a higher likelihood of them opening it. So
that's great feedback. I mean, a lot of people that are on our last post talking about some of the more expensive CRM tools and Infusionsoft, and that's all an email processing scheme. I know Jimmy has a great email list, and I subscribe to those and keep getting them. But if that's 3% opposed to 86%, then I don't need 100,000 people following me. Just speak to that market, and like you said, your first client or coach was a quarter of your weight. And I think this is a concept that we all, and myself included, struggle with. It's like, I have to have an 8-pack abs to get anybody to follow me. It's like, no, you need to be in the journey, and the people that you inspire will come out of the woodwork. Just do what you do. And my point with this, and it's my other secret, is, we get paid for selling products and Shakeology and Performance Formula. But I think the secret behind what we get paid is directly proportional to the amount that you are vulnerable and open.
100%. Where'd Jason go?
I'm right here. I just
stopped. Dramatic pause. Sorry.
Yes. You get me?
I do. I get you. I so get you. I've loved you since the day I met you and even know who I was. It's totally true, you guys. So I do have an email list. I absolutely have an email list. And email lists are important, but you can segment where you put your energy. Okay. So like, have those one-on-one conversations. Just don't have the one-on-one conversations go like this. Hey, how you doing? I'm good. Oh, I love your dogs. They're so cute. Yeah, my dogs are really cute. Do you have kids? Yeah, I got 2 kids. Okay, she wants Shakeology now. Should I want Shakeology now? So how's the weather? Weather's really good. It's really cold in the East Coast. Yeah, we're freezing in California. It's 56 in Parka weather. Should I talk about Shakeology now? Like, stop wondering when you're going to talk about Shakeology. Like all this will come out. It's those that have the mindset of be shocked. You guys, I don't teach how to get 100 SC a month. Lindsay's my witness. I don't believe that is necessary to build this business. But I understand getting SC5. That's important. We all have 3 people in our life every single month that needs our help, or we are hiding underneath the coffee table. There are people out there who are desperate for where you are right now. And if you're worried about what people are going to say about you or think negatively about you, feel bad about that person. It's like, damn, I wish you'd have told me before. Like, why didn't you tell me about this sooner? Like, I really needed this. I needed this. That's the person you're talking to, not everyone else. Not everyone else. And so everybody can help 3 people a month. But when you focus on helping 3 people with the product and a solution that's at a heavy discount that gives them the most bang for their buck, and money tends to be an issue. By the way, coming from the broken homeless girl, affordability is fear. That's all it is. They're afraid of wasting their money. If it really matters to you, they're worried about their finances, then we should be handing everybody a challenge pack, because that's the most bang for your buck. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what we sell in a challenge pack for all access right now is ridiculously cheap for what we get. There should be commas and zeros behind that, because it's changed so many people's lives. Like, the value of what we give is way under, it's way under what people invest in it. It really is. And when people start complaining about the cost of things, I say, you know what? It's really funny, because I read all these things that you share with me. I've yet to receive a check that has commas and zeros that came anywhere to the equation of what this has done for you versus how your life has changed. Oh, you're right. I'm not on medications anymore. I'm like, well, I mean, like, that pays your Shakeology alone. Like, everybody's story is different. Like, I really live and breathe the value of what we have to offer, regardless of where I am on my journey, you guys. I'm up and down too. That's my journey. It's not like I'm not serious about where I want to go. When you're really serious about losing weight, it has nothing to do with that. Like, this is my truth, and I will not be ashamed of it, and I will share it as I experience it.
Yeah, one of the terms you've used before at our leadership group, and I just want to say here, is she is 100% unapologetically her, and I love that. Like, don't be ashamed of who you are. Stand on top of it, and your tribe will come. There's a question online from Brandon Williams, and it's kind of a technical question, so maybe I can try to answer it, and then you can go back, because this is something I was hung up on. So to clarify for me, you run groups on or off Facebook, third-party sites, email. From my understanding, and I've asked ad nauseum about this, she attracts people by being her. She said, YouTube works good for her and her like pages. And then she gets people to do her prep week. So that's a challenger. That prep week is housed on Facebook. And,
no,
okay.
Offsite. That is offsite.
That's
all the content is offsite.
Kajabi.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you took the Kajabi content and put it into Facebook.
No.
Okay, so you send them to Kajabi, but you make them comment in the Facebook group, and that's where the veterans are.
Yes. Yes.
And the veterans then help coach the newbies, and then they see that they're getting help, and then they can help other people, and then they want to go into coaching 1 and 2. Coaching 1 and 2 then become programs in Kajabi as well, and then they go back to Facebook to talk about it. So I just wanted to say that, because I think Brendan and I have the same sort of technical mindset, and it was confusing to me as well.
Yeah, and I'm way more on the creative side of things. And here's the deal, you guys. What's the biggest issue people have about sharing what we do? They have such a hard time about talking to people, because I don't think I'm trying to sell it. Well, guess what I teach my challengers every single day? By helping support those who are brand new, who come in because they're so excited to watch them grow, which is no different than coaching. And also, they're so willing to recommend product. They're so willing to recommend programs. And oh my gosh, it was so effortless and so genuine and rolled off your tongue. It is no different than when you go and talk to Sally Joe outside the group. It's the practice. The biggest problem people have in this is they lack the practice because they don't show up consistently. And I don't know if any other leaders in here who've been in this business, because these guys have got way more experience in this than I do. I mean, I look up to these guys and what they have to share and offer to all of us. But the reality, I don't know if you guys have ever fallen off track for any reason or another. Maybe it's a sickness or an injury or, a loss or something like that. Like, getting those gears going again is tough. Like, the best thing that you can do is show up every single day. And some people go, well, I didn't make a lot of money last year. I remember my first check fed my kids. I went and got that check. I went to a check cashing place, cashed it, because I couldn't put it in my bank account because it was so overdrawn. So my phone would be off for 3 weeks out of the month and my bank account would be overdrawn until they were about ready to shut it down. And that's how I fed my kids. That check went into my kids' bellies. I'll never forget when I was able to pay the electricity bill. Like, some people poo-poo the amount of money they make. That money's a blessing. And that check is filled with thank yous of people's lives that you help change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been my stance. So yes, has my income grown? Yeah, substantially. I grew my income by 160% last year. And we plan to do that more this year by helping people.
And if you ever learn to disrespect your check, just take it away for 5-6 months and you'll see that it's pretty considerable.
Oh yeah, don't show up for your business for 2 months. And while thank goodness for cycle bonuses and things like that, yeah, you start to appreciate them a lot more. And if you really have moral issue with receiving a check, then go donate to your church. My son's school, 55% of the kids there are under the poverty line. It's a STEAM program. They need backpacks, and every single year we need backpacks. If you need a place to donate your check, I've got a place to help you, because these kids need to have something to put their books into. There is some way you can take that as service. Like, I have no guilt or shame of making, the better my relationship with money has become, the better like my life has become. Like somebody said, I'm doing Dave Ramsey personal Financial Peace University, and he said people get really hung up on the idea the love of money is evil. And what was it? It was for the love of money or something. He described it like what the actual verse said. And like, yes, like money isn't evil. The love of money is evil. Money gives me freedom. Money allows me to do the things that I can do for my family. And you know what, you guys? My checks that I get on a weekly basis allow me to live my dream working this business. I wish everybody had, actually, everybody does have that opportunity, just not everybody's willing to take it.
Well, how about that? I mean, I don't see a lot of other questions. I hear amens from anywhere. So if you were to do your version of Barbie's overcoming objections, you know, what do you say now to people that, you know, don't have the $130 for a challenge pack and are following you? You know, your husband back there is keeping track of all the numbers. You know, knows how many times they sent the first response. Like, you know, what do you say to get people across the line, maybe? Because I think
First of all, I found out their goals and struggles. Again, the best thing I can do is direct you back to what Barbie says. You know, girl, tell me all about you. Tell me about your goals and struggles. Okay. In order for me to help them, like people say, hey, I have this and this issue. What program do you recommend I start with? And I say openly, I don't know. I don't know enough about you to be able to make a suggestion for a program, but you're welcome to reach out to me and I can help dig in to find that out by getting to know more about you. But just reach out to me and then I'll tell you exactly how I need that information. I'm like, oh, okay, there's a system, right? So for me, when I get a no, and especially when they explain, isn't it so weird? Like all these struggles and all these goals and everything they have were so big and like so important. Then the second they have to pay for it, it's like weird. Like all of a sudden that stuff doesn't matter anymore. Like that stuff you just shared with me is way more value than the $130 you're going to put into something you're going to consume. Okay.
Well, I think
so when they
you're exposing their value structure. Their value for the health is here and the value for income or money is there. And so the two don't relate in their head. You have to come from a broader perspective to show them this is as important as that. Maybe, I don't know.
I do. Well, you know what I openly say, and I tell them my experience, whatever your experience with money is, where we came from, it doesn't have to be broken homeless. Like it's your truth, whatever your truth is. But for me, I was afraid. First of all, I was afraid that my husband would fall in love with a petite blonde. And he did. He fell in love with Chalene Johnson. So I kind of made my destiny happen. But I really did. I was always afraid, like, because he started working out first. I'm like, oh, is there still going to be room in his life for me? I did. I was the unsupportive spouse. So I openly say, listen, may I ask you, what are you afraid of? And they'll it's a very heart from the heart conversation. So follow this. And what are you afraid of? I was afraid of wasting my money. That's why the 30-day money back guarantee was really important to me. Like I would drink up that bag, crumble it all up and return it. You don't even need my help to return it. And I'll ask them, are you willing to trust me for 30 days? Because if there's anything that I've shared here with you that doesn't it doesn't ring true, or I've misled you, you don't even need my help to return it. If I extend my hand, will you trust me for 30 days? And they go, yeah, I can trust you for 30 days. The other thing that really helps, I'll say, and again, I'm doing this on video, one take video. Some of my stuff is canned. I tell them the stuff that's canned and explain to them why it is, but most of my stuff is one-on-one, or not most, a good portion of it is one-on-one. And I'll even say, I'll grab my phone and go, grab your phone, set a date 25 days from now and reevaluate where you are. And if it's not what I told you it's going to be, return it. I appreciate the courtesy of you letting me know, because I always want to be able to do better. Beachbody only wants people using the products as having great success. They will not try to hound you to stay. Sure. And they're like, okay, I'll trust you. But I like people who come in with a healthy dose of skepticism. I don't want people who want to buy immediately. People who buy a quick fix,
they don't open it,
are going to be quick to get. They're going to go. They're going to go. I slow people down and force them through my process. I don't think you have answered the free trial membership question. Someone asked, I let everybody know about my free trial. It's on every email that goes out. It's there. Like, it's all there. Like, hopefully they'll go and sign up for the free trial. So I don't lead with the free trial. To me, I give them a full solution. So I don't lead with it, but it shows up in so many places that I get a lot of people that sign up through it.
She actually did cover it. And basically, I think the idea there is maybe the free group is once a month. She's starting new challenges groups every week. So if you're someone wait a month, you can jump into the one every free week. And then if you do the free one, you have to be posting, on the ball. And if you're not, like, sorry, you're not really into this right now, maybe you should wait till next month or check out one of our paid groups. And then you can never repeat the free group. But she did cover that.
And the other thing is, too, is I love Josh Coates. And, I'm going to come from somebody that high recruits. Okay, who brings a lot of people in and helps a lot of people get started. It is rare that the financial issue, or let me talk to my husband, or let me pray on it, or I would not, here's my favorite, I would never pay that much for a protein powder. Girl, neither would I. Could you imagine paying that much for a protein powder? This actually isn't a protein powder, but if you feel the need to add more protein in, just make sure it's as clean as the Shakeology. I would never pay that much for a protein powder. Like, I thought Shakeology was a protein powder. So here's the deal. I love what you're sharing, and Ashton, maybe the way that you're wording it. If I worded it the way that you shared, that would not be genuine for me. And you're probably just like condensing it, right? So investment. I use the term investment instead of cost. I do say that. But I don't talk so much about the investment and the $160. I lead with the support. I lead with being able to try this out if anything I say is untrue. I don't talk about the money. I don't keep harping on it or bringing up the 160 or the 130 or well, I'm sure you're spending that much on a daily basis on fast food. I'm like, dude, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have this jar behind me. Hold on. I was supposed to do it for a week. I only did it for 2 days. Blame my creative self. So in this magic jar is $25. This was $25 that my husband and I would have spent on coffee. I did want a box of Girl Scout cookies. I did emotionally eat. That did happen. I wanted a box of Girl Scout cookies, but I'm like, those are $5. I'm going to put that $5 in here. That cup of coffee is going to get, I'm going to put that in here. And in 2 days, I saved $25. So I was sharing this on my Instagram stories. I'm like, that's really weird because in 2 days I paid for, hold on, between 6 and 8 servings of my dense nutrition. Like, people don't recognize they will pay for what they value. Fast doesn't last. That's right, girl. They will pay for what they see value in. If they're not willing to buy it from you, either they're looking for free, everybody loves free, or they haven't quite seen the value in it. So invite them to try it. Invite them to take advantage of the 30-day money-back guarantee. And the $160 investment, and here's the other thing, the $160 investment in the product isn't going to help them reach their goals. Correction on that, I'm just saying. You, as their coach, and the support system that you're bringing them to, and the total solution will help them, but the support is key. Like, that's like less about the product, less about the money, and start with you. They are trying to connect with you. And if you don't connect, It's the universe protecting you and them from probably a not situation that's right for either one of you. If I just think of it that way and I'm like, it's just not meant to be and it's okay. I also said no a lot of times. But if Jimmy talked to me a lot about the investment and the money, I probably would have throat punched him because all I wanted to do was live. So you have to know who it is that you're talking to and what it is that they connect with. And it's not the money. It's the fear of wasting the money on yet another gimmick that they're not going to see through. How are they going to see it through? Because they got you in their corner. And what's the value of that? And here's the other thing. When people, priceless. Thank you. Thank you, Hebby. The other thing is when people say, oh, I'm not willing to spend that much. Or I'm not willing to spend the money on the Shakeology. Or I already have a bag of Shakeology. I don't care. I'm going to teach you how to drink 2 Shakeology a day to help you get over that sugar addiction. I have that in my Shakeology tab and group prep, by the way. I tell them, I hope that what I've shared with you and what you've connected with is not the value of a bag of Shakeology. Because if that's the case, this is not going to work.
Waste of my time.
I am not the cost or investment of a bag of Shakeology. That's it. I'm bringing you way more than that. And if they don't see that, why do I have to talk, debate, talk into? No is one thing. Not right. No's are not right now. But I don't have to convince you on them. I'm not here to talk you into, debate, convince. Here's what I have to offer. I'd love to help you along with it. Let's go do this from the heart. Now, if you're a real numbers guy and you're talking to the people who are numbers guys, the 160 investment is probably really important. But I'm going to bet the numbers guy who really speaks about that has got a place in his heart that has a big old hole. Maybe he's not feeling good about himself. Maybe his relationship's affected. I don't know. But even they have something they need to connect with on a deeper level.
One more.
Oh, what?
Hey, the one.
Come over. He's walking well tonight.
The other one that resonates also, as far as I'm concerned, with people is that it's not a zero-sum game. But when you look at it, what is worth more, the $160 or the $100,000 we just had to pay in hospital bills? Okay, and that was just an emergency that happened. But figure out sometime how much you pay on, diabetes drugs or pain pills or, Aleve or, and it starts adding up. I mean, I used to literally chew Aleve. It was like, because I was in so much pain and I was adding to my inflammation. And we were going through one of those Costco bottles almost in a week. It's ridiculous.
The first year we hit 6 figures in this business, my husband also attempted to die with a massive double infection and put us in $100,000 in debt. And you know what saved him? And this is the honest to God truth. I watched him do it in the hospital room, which turned into a hotel room. I watched him pay attention to the food that he was eating. I watched him put himself first. And I know before Beachbody, because I know where he was in his mindset, there was a time that I was worried if he went out and drove by himself because I wasn't sure if he would ever come back. Not because he ran away, because maybe some tough choices he was inclined to make, because after losing our business and going broke and homeless, like that's a lot of pressure on somebody, right? So he was going through a lot of that. He learned to fight because of Beachbody. And the people who are in our corner, when I went on live going, my husband's in the hospital, 170-degree fever, he's dying in my arms, I don't know what to do, I can't get hold of anybody, and people are coming out. It was our Beachbody family, people that had nothing to do with our downline, had nothing to do with our upline. Yes, he did just fly across the room, Stacy. Had nothing to do with anything, that came out for us. And you know why we didn't freak out about the debt? Because we have Beachbody. That's why. And people lose sight of that.
And
yeah?
Can I just say, this happened while we were in the Country Heat test group. Like day 1, she's like, shows up with a video.
Right, I remember.
Dancing in a hospital room. And we're all like, what is going on? She's like, well, my husband almost just died, but I'm here day 1. I'm working on the food right now, but I'm here right now. And he was like cheering her on in the background, I think, or maybe he was still, I know at some point she had him dancing within like the 2 weeks or something. And
that was at home. Yeah.
What is going on? So all y'all that like that whole show up every day, no matter what, he was dying. And she's posting in this group, like, here I am, day one, I'm here, I got you guys. Like, and we were just like, mouths on the ground, like, wait, what is going on behind you? And like, she shared it, and I think that was a video that got a lot of views too. Like, she like was very present, or you were just there. I mean, you were there through this whole like, and that is, I don't even have words. Like, that's amazing. Like, you know, like I
at the same time. So I of course thought about this was not the right time to do this. And I knew I needed to plug into what we're doing with Beachbody. At the same time it's all happening, I had two people on my team who were attempting to get people to quit for 6 months and sign up underneath them. They were actually going through my download line while my husband was dying in the hospital. And I remember this happening. And I remember, so a lot of beauty was happening at the same time and a lot of ugly, but you can't see the light until you're forced to sit in the dark. And literally 2 months ago, I was forced to sit in the dark, and seeds grow in the dark. So whatever I went through the past couple of months had to happen, because look out, y'all, this year's gonna be kind of amazing because of that. I know this now. And while this is all happening, my husband and I now have an agreement. We are very, if he binges, I binge. So we can affect each other that way. But if he's on point, I'm on point. It used to be the opposite. We have an agreement. In order for me to be there for my husband and take good care of him, I better make sure I'm taking care of myself, because he is not an excuse for me to stop doing what it is that I need to do. He is the reason, and vice versa. If my kids really matter to me, I better be taking really good care of me. So I'm sorry, what was the investment to get started in this? Because I only spent $140. We are no longer broken homeless. Lindsay's always saying, your house, we're renting this house. We plan on buying in 2 years. Thank God for that investment that I had every intention of returning, because our lives wouldn't have changed and I wouldn't have these people in my life. If I sound like I'm being dramatic, fine. You just haven't had the experience yet. But it's coming if you open your heart, because mine was cold at that point. We hated people.
And you, I think when you were in Shift Shop, I was not in that group. Well, I was technically not, but Hal was in it. So I didn't kind of get to be a part of it. And I think that was when you actually got denied on a house. And again, you were, and then we were at Summit, and she was really like, didn't work out. And like a lot of bad stuff was still happening. And now, and I'm like, oh my God, you're in a house. You have a big Christmas tree. Because she had this huge dream to give her son a backyard. And they lived in an apartment for like ever. So she still, like, I think the story behind all of that is just, you got to show up every single day and put yourself out there to help these other people. And in turn, you're going to get back what, you put out. I mean, you're going to get a whole lot more back, which never in a million years did I think I was going to get what I got.
Isn't that the BMW packing everything into the BMW story and then people judging you because you had a BMW?
Oh, my husband?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Like,
because not everybody on this call knows that, and that's amazing.
Yeah, like my husband, we moved inland to take over a distribution center because a business partner who threatened to kill 40 employees. That happened later, but we had to take it over. And my husband had just, like, he was like, should I get this car? I'm like, you've worked hard to give us this life. Of course, go do it. And it was a dream. And so he got it and he ordered it, and it was sent to, the dealership to go pick up. And now we had to move inland on a very short notice to try to figure out what's going on with this guy. The brand new, like, spoiler package, Z4, only one of its kind on the West Coast. Like, he's worked hard for this, you guys. Next thing you know, the map takes us on a dirt road. And it's like, ping, ping, ping. Like, all the stuff that's going wrong went wrong. But we used to be driving down the street, and people would say the worst things. So they were all in big trucks. And they would say the worst things in this little BMW that was next to them. We're like, but we've worked really hard for this, Is that the story you're talking about?
Yeah, and I think at one point you had to vacate a premises and store everything in this BMW transport, and then people are like, well, you're not deserving of any help because you've got an expensive car. People judge for that.
The judgment. So how many of you guys judge the person by their car?
I mean, I do, and I have a nice car.
Yeah. So I learned not to do that anymore because when we were losing everything, people go, well, you'll save money and go buy a more economical car. With what money? I just took pennies out, like the silvers are no longer in the piggy bank. I just took the pennies to put it in the gas tank. Like I couldn't go locally to the church to get food for my family because I was still trying to put on this persona of building a business to get us back on their feet in any way that I possibly could, and couldn't show up because I lived in a small town at the time and people knew who I was. And people would judge us, well, you don't need help, or, whatever, you're driving a BMW. We were driving the BMW until the repo man showed up. Like, that's the truth. And so, like, it's so easy, you guys, to judge other people's journeys. I'm so grateful we are who we are today for what we went through, because of what we went through. And the reason why I have such strength and faith, and believe me, you guys, it's been tested the past few months. It has been hard. I hit a different level of rock bottom, but not quite as deep as the multi-levels of rock bottom we've been through before. But the bottom line is I've been through worse, and I've gone through what I've gone through in my life so I can better handle what's going on. And I have Beachbody to help me get on the other side. It's so simple. It's so simple.
It's really easy to do. It's also easy to not do.
And it's paying it forward. My husband's brought that up. What we do is paying it forward. I want to do for somebody else what Jimmy did for us. And the most beautiful way to do that, the best gift that I can give people, is to tell them what we have to offer. Even if I don't have any dollars in my bank account, I have something to change my life. I can pay it forward and help other people. And like Jason said, it just keeps coming back.
Well, I don't want to take up your whole night, but there's one thing I'd like to do is your husband's been here for this whole experience. So I'd love for him to take a minute, on Lindsay, Jeff, if you have anything else to add, please do. But just take a minute and, like, why has there been success in this from your third person perspective? Like, why has she been successful in this? And, well, before you do that, stay right there. But Tulin, it's true, right? You got started because of what he was doing.
I just about ready to say that. I watched him do P90X on his knees in the hotel room when we were broken homeless. We were gaining weight rapidly. He won. No, I won. I'm very competitive that way. I would eat Chinese food and an extra large Coke in front of him, and I'd be pissed because he's using the TV to do P90X. So I would sabotage him, and then I would watch him quietly. I just watched him quiet. I wouldn't give him any credit. I wouldn't tell him he's my inspiration because I was mad at him. I was so mad at him. But I would not be doing if I was doing. I actually learned about the power of modification. I watched him reteach himself to walk. I've watched him reteach himself to swim. I've watched him in 14 years fall so many times, never picked him up once, not once off the ground. But I would not be doing, oh, you make me cry. I would not be doing if it wasn't for him. That is true.
Well, and I want to add something else to that. She became the person she is because when she was struggling and pissed off because of what he was doing and trying to separate herself from that, she couldn't find somebody else to inspire her. So she had to become that person. And I think at the very smallest level, if we all do that for ourselves, like what's the one thing I lack? What's the one thing Jeff lacks? Lindsay, Heather, you're all good at this business, but the thing that you're worst at, if you figure that out for you and then can share that with somebody else, you will never have problems selling or finding followers. Just be you, the thing that you need to be or you needed to see. Be the coach you want to be.
Yes.
But I want to hear his perspective. Like, why have you guys been successful? This I met you 3-4 years ago, yep. And you were into it, but you weren't at this success level, and you wouldn't be, leading calls and everything else. So what has she done, from your perspective that's been exceptional?
Well, the easiest one was, she married me.
Hey. I like confidence.
All kidding aside, the thing that she always has had as far as what has driven her is her why. And I think no matter what happens on a daily basis, no matter what happens with a negative person, what happens with a negative coach, or whatever that may be, the one thing that has never deviated off that true north is her love and her respect and caring for plus size women. Those women on a journey, it's her why. Now, are we part of that why? Absolutely. Because, for me,
I sort of like them.
Kind of, sometimes. When we put the toilet seat down. But no, but what it comes down to is her why is so big and she reminds herself of that on a daily. And I think because of that, because she plugs in, because she does her, you know, her personal development, and she always looks to get better. Whether it's, you know, I think it's one of those things where, you know, I was talking to somebody with Tulin, and they're like, oh, you know, it must be a real big struggle, you know, doing this. And I'm like, it's a little bit better than yesterday. Even if it's half an inch better, even if it's 1 step or 1/4 of an inch of a step better, it's a step forward. And that's the thing that we got to focus on. Sometimes we get so bogged down in, oh my goodness, it's, you know, to be a 6-star or 10-star, 15-star, blah, 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 super. All of a sudden it leaves so far away. You know, just worry about helping people. And that's what she does on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. Now, are we getting more dialed in on how to get coaches to become better at, you know, being able to duplicate what we're doing? 100%. But the underlying structure of what has never deviated is that she has always been about helping people. When you're genuinely about helping people, and you have that passion, and you have that drive and that fire and that, you know, that love in your heart, it's going to lead to good things. And that's, you know, if you ask me the one secret, that's her one secret. It never deviates.
Well, amen. I tried to say that last week. If I have to choose between a relationship that's going to let me know about Jeff or Lindsay or Ashton or Heather or you guys, I'm going to choose that relationship 100% of the time over the 2 Success Club points.
Yep.
And if eventually those 2 align, well, that's great, and the worlds come together and everything makes sense, and I'll get a paycheck for that. But if I have a choice, I'm going to choose a relationship. And I think we all do that. Everybody in this call, you know, as I look through. And a lot of times I just choose the overall view of everybody, the gallery view instead of the speaker view. I am choosing the speaker view now because I'm posting some of this stuff live. But I love the gallery view because I can see all the faces. I see the hands raised, you know, and I know what it means to everybody when I see them. I see Jarell on there. We just talked this week. You know, I see Ashton on there. She's been around forever. She's giving me the tears of crying because it's not working out, but yet she's made it work, you know. And guys like Jeff Owen, you know, sticking in there a little time, making it work. And, you know, he's not the biggest money maker on the call, but you know what? He hasn't missed a call in the last few weeks. So I think that's what it takes. Lindsay, Jeff, is there anything to summarize this up? Or Tulin, do you have anything else?
Well, thank you, Tulin, again for amazing, amazing content and for inspiring our people. You know, I got to meet Tulin for the first time, but I had been following her for quite a long time. I was kind of fangirling her for a while. And when I found out we had the opportunity to bring her to Florida, I knew that we had to make it happen. And I think, you know, a lot of credit goes to Lindsay for making that happen. But thank you, Tulin, for coming out. Guys, you know, Jason and I have been doing this, and Lindsay's been doing this, and Tulin for a long period of time. And the business changes so much. And it has changed quite a bit over the last several years. But what can't change is just the core part of what we do is helping people for the right reasons of simply wanting to see them live healthier and happier. You know, we get sometimes bombarded with other things like Success Club and the latest promotion. And those things are great. They're good ways to target building your business and maybe leveling, you know, figuring out where you are growing. But in the end, it's just more about caring about that person at the other end of the conversation. You know, if you do that one person at a time, yeah, you're going to hear some no's. And that's a bad thing about what we do is we do hear no's. And again, no just means not right now. It's all it really means. I've learned that so well over the last 10 years. So many people have come back over that time. I got a coach on here right now, Randy, who has come and gone a couple times, but he's here because he always comes back to the concept that he sees the success I've had, and he knows that what we're doing is a great thing, and you know is going to work for Randy. I know it is going to work for him, and that's the same for all of you guys. Every single one of you may not be where you want to be right now, but you're that much closer. You know, that's really everything I wanted to say, guys. Thank you, Tulin, for joining us. It was awesome, really awesome.
Thanks for having me, guys, and thanks for asking me. And like I said, this is just such a perfect example. And I forgot Heather's on here, and I don't know how I missed Miss Heather, but you guys have been like I just appreciate all that you do for everyone, and that's what we do. And if you guys don't experience this in your day job, or you think the goal is to be a full-time coach, a lot of us started off part-time. Like, just enjoy this process. Don't worry about having to have it all figured out. Like, don't get trapped in the busy. And somebody had mentioned, put up here a couple of quotes from MIA. I've been messy since day one. If I had a Peanuts character that I could identify with the most, it would be Pigpen, because I'm like a mess. I'm such a mess. Like, I'm clean. I smell good. Like, don't get me wrong. I do. I mean, it's all well, but that would be me. Like, I don't have all the answers. I don't have a structure. Like, Jason's like, oh, can you something flow? And I'm like, listen, I'm showing up. I'm going to share my heart. I don't even have a flow. Like, I've just practiced it enough. Flow chart. Like,
he knows your flow. He knows your flow.
He knows my flow. Like, he's the analytic part of my brain, so I don't have to do that anymore. But the point is, just go do it. There wasn't modifiers when I started, you guys. There wasn't a lot of plus size coaches that would stand up and say that. Like, I know I've made an impact in that world. Like, don't worry about fitting some sort of narrative or look or expectation. That's their problem. Somebody needs you where you are right now. Don't let, 8-pack to 3-pack to no pack to keg. Like, that doesn't matter. This matters where you are, because somebody can't move past where they are, and you figured it out. And that's what you have the ability to do from day one. Every single person on this call has the ability to do that. If we all change one life, just one, in our journey with Beachbody, do you know the impact we make? It's crazy. Anyways, I love you guys.
All right, Lindsay, we'll let you take it home.
All right, bye. I'm heading out. Don't miss me.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
I was just going to add that I took 8 months to say yes to being a coach. And what got me into health and fitness and passion about it was I was facing heart surgery at a young age. And I was, I think, 26 or 27. I don't know. I was pretty young for a person who had to face heart surgery. And I just had I was in I'm going to get healthy, but this comes first, but this comes first, but this comes first, but this comes first. And then I ended up in an emergency room with doctors saying you need to have heart surgery. And it was electrical. It wasn't a heart disease, but regardless, it was still dangerous. And if I didn't have the surgery, I could have died. And I remember being in that surgery and I would not go to sleep. Like, they kept trying to, how they knock you out so you have surgery. I was like, no way, no how, I'm going to die today. And I had a flip. And then, I started to take it seriously and realize this needs to be top priority in my life, or I may not have a life. So what we do is really important, you guys. And I know that I take it really, really seriously. And I always think of how I took 8 months to watch the coach that actually brought me in, who's actually gone now. She showed up every single week, posting every single week, every day. And she said all the things. She was home with her kids. She was working on her health and fitness. And she was getting paid to do it. And she was going shopping that whole week.
Was she perfect?
Honestly, her name was Lindsay. She did come off like a Barbie doll. I will. Once I got to know her, she was not perfect, but she did come off. She came off. It was just she wrote me a novel.
She presented perfect, but she wasn't necessarily
right.
Perfect. And she was perfect enough for you to be something to look up to, or the solution for what you needed at the time. And I think that's the point here, is just we need to be the best that we can be, and not worry about who our followers are. Like, if that's me, I have to have 12-pack abs because the guy with 8-pack wants 12-pack, right? But that's not the thing. If I show up as the guy every day that does dance when he's embarrassed by it, then that empowers 10 other people to go dance, and maybe they show up at their wedding and dance instead of not dancing, which I have an issue with. But I didn't mean to cut you off. It doesn't take perfection to bring somebody into this, and I think that's a great example. And in fact, I just saw your Instagram post where you talk about this. And we've been friends together for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I didn't even know that you had been through a heart surgery. I mean, that's amazing. And the results she's getting in the last couple months since November timeframe are amazing. And it just empowers us to know that there's more good coming from Beachbody.
There is more good coming. I have been hanging out in a TUS group. I can't talk about it yet, but hopefully soon it's going to be good. Plus the bars.
Mm-hmm. That's next month, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of good coming, you guys. Like, and it's going to be like.
And that's the thing. That's the thing, Lindsay, is that there's always good coming with Beachbody. You shouldn't be surprised to hear that. I mean, it's been 10 years, and there's always great new things coming. And
Carl is
just a wonderful company. But
well, speaking of which, Jeff and I were both in New York, 2-3 weeks ago, and I think both at some of our fattest ever. And you're down 10 pounds now with Ultimate Reset, and me jumping back into size and body beast. Like, I'm tuning up too.
Yeah. The reset was sorely needed this year for a number of reasons, and but yeah, I mean, there's just always things to look forward to. You know, you can use excuses, or you can do something about it. And I think Jason and I got together right at the right time. We called each other out in some bullshit, and we're doing some things right now. And shit, Mike, he's on the call with me. He's doing the Ultimate Reset with me. Say hi, Mike.
But he's down 20, right?
He's down 20 pounds. You know,
I'm watching.
And there's still a week to go. It's freaking insane. And Mike's another one of my coaches who've been around almost as long as Randy. And
one thing I want to impress here is that
on this call, 8 years later. So he hasn't given up, and I know he's not gonna.
This group doesn't lack resources. If it's a quarterly meeting here in Pennsylvania or off in New York, like, the resources are already there. Like, I just got a comment back from the wife who probably has never had a financial issue in her life. And she's like, you guys are 210% on the money. And she's talking from the aspect that the money isn't important. Like, I mean, if your kid is hurt, if your dog breaks a leg, do you go to the vet and say, well, don't fix him? Like, no, you come up with the money. And maybe I'm only realizing this now because I have the responsible dog that I have to take care of. But, like, it's never a money issue. It's about a value issue. And if you connect with the values in the way that Tulin and Lindsay and Jeff and Ashton and everybody else on this call, Heather is talking about, then it's an easy transition. I don't even want to say sale, because it's a transition to show them what they have and what they want and how to make the two come true.
Yep. You just use a dog example, and I saw Mike shake his head. That one hit home, Mike? Yeah, for a lot of reasons. So, all right, people, let's let these people get some sleep. I know some will have to work in the morning. I think Jason will talk over the next 24 hours. I think we got David coming back next week because he wanted to do it a couple weeks. And then we got some other speakers that I've been talking to. So there's a lot of great things coming up. So, and as far as retreats, Jason mentioned, we got some cool things that we've been talking about. So we got some things to look forward to.
Amen.
All right, guys. Thanks, Lindsay, for taping it. Lindsay will have the recording to us leaders, and we'll get that distributed out over the next 24 hours or so.
Kudos again to Lindsay for organizing all this and then having Tulin out. It's amazing. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.